Hey everyone. I'm Linda, 32, living my dream as a pastry chef in the Big Apple. My bakery, Sugar Dreams, is the talk of the town. Life was sweet. I had it all: a thriving business, a dreamy fiancé named Arthur, a total lawyer hunk, and my best friend Jenna by my side. Speaking of Jenna, let me tell you how she became my right hand at the bakery. She'd been through the ringer at her last job, accused of a theft she didn't commit. Linda, I swear they just needed a scapegoat, and I was an easy target, she told me, her voice trembling. I trusted her completely, so I hired her as my accountant. Best decision ever, or so I thought. Arthur and I were planning the wedding of the year, complete with a designer dress, a fancy venue, and, of course, the wedding cake masterpiece I'd designed myself. Babe, whatever you want for the cake, it's yours, Arthur said with that $1,000,000 smile. Everything was falling into place. Our wedding party was a dream team. Harry, Arthur's best friend, was our best man. My sister, Emma, was my maid of honor, and Marco, my sous chef, was an absolute wizard with a whisk. Life seemed perfect. Almost. It was the little things about Arthur that started to get to me, the way he'd get jumpy with his phone or cancel plans at the last minute. It's normal, I told myself. He's a busy lawyer after all. But one night at dinner, his phone kept buzzing, and he looked a bit nervous. Everything okay? I asked. Oh, yeah, just work stuff, you know how it is, he replied, flashing that smile that usually melted my worries. But I couldn't shake a growing unease. Over the next few weeks, Arthur seemed even more distracted, always glued to his phone. Finally, I confronted him. Babe, you've been pretty attached to that phone lately. Is everything all right at work? He looked startled for a split second, then recovered. Yeah, just a big case. You know how it is. But I didn't really know, did I? The next day at the bakery, I couldn't focus, and Jenna noticed. Linda, what's wrong? She asked, glancing over with concern. It's Arthur, I admitted. He's been so distant lately. Am I crazy? Jenna forced a smile. Come on, it's probably just pre-wedding jitters. You know how guys get. I wanted to believe her, but there was something off in her voice. Later that week, while Arthur was showering, he left his phone on the counter. Curiosity got the better of me. I shouldn't have looked, but I did, and my heart dropped. Dozens of texts from someone named S with heart emojis. When Arthur came out, I confronted him. Who's S, Arthur? He paused, then laughed. Oh, that's just Sam from the office. You know, the intern. She's emoji crazy. I nodded, but my gut told me something wasn't right. A few days later, I ran into Harry at a coffee shop near Arthur's office. He seemed surprised to see me. Linda, I thought you'd be at Arthur's business dinner tonight. My heart sank. Business dinner? He told me he was working late. Harry looked flustered. Oh, maybe I got mixed up, but I knew he'd let something slip. That night, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through Arthur's recent credit card statements. Fancy restaurants, jewelry stores, hotel charges. None of it made sense. Just before leaving for another business trip, Arthur handed me a small, wrapped box. An early wedding gift, he said with a tight smile. As he left, I noticed Jenna at her desk, looking pale and fidgety. Everything okay? I asked, but she jumped, avoiding my gaze.
Fine.
Just not feeling great, she stammered. With trembling hands, I finally opened Arthur's gift. Inside were divorce papers, not for me but for him. They revealed he was secretly married to Jenna, my best friend. The woman I trusted with my business and my heart. It all clicked. The hushed phone calls, the late nights, the way Jenna avoided my eyes. I stormed into the bakery, my vision blurred with tears. Jenna looked up, and her face crumbled. Linda, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. She broke down, confessing everything. It started as a fling, but it got serious. We got married 6 months ago. I wanted to tell you, but Arthur said it would ruin everything. My voice came out as a whisper. How could you, Jenna? Tears streamed down her face, and she looked at me with guilt etched deeply in her eyes. There's more, Linda, she said, barely holding herself together. I've been, I've been stealing from the bakery. The hits just kept coming. I collapsed into a chair, my legs too weak to support me. Arthur, he's not as well off as he pretends, she confessed. He kept asking me for money, saying he'd pay it back, but he never did. And I was scared to say no. I'm so sorry, Linda. I've betrayed you in every way possible. As Jenna continued her confession, I felt the walls of my perfect life crumble around me. I felt like I was drowning. It wasn't just a few hundred, it was thousands, tens of thousands. My successful bakery, my dream, was on the brink of financial ruin. Just then, the bell above the door chimed, and Arthur walked in, his face falling as he took in the scene. Linda, baby, I can explain, he stammered, trying to sound sincere. I cut him off, my voice as cold as steel. Explain what, Arthur? How you married my best friend behind my back. How you've been stealing from me. His smooth lawyer persona slipped into place, as if he could argue his way out of it. It's not what you think. Jenna and I, we love each other. We didn't mean to hurt you. And the money, it was just temporary. I was going to pay it all back. I let out a hollow, bitter laugh. Love? You don't know the meaning of the word, neither of you. Jenna reached out to touch my hand. Linda, please. We can fix this somehow. I jerked my hand away. Fix this? You've destroyed everything. My trust, my business, my future. There's no fixing that. Arthur started to plead. Baby, please give me another chance. I'll make it right. Something inside me snapped. Another chance? Here's your chance, Arthur. Get out. Both of you. Get out of my bakery. Get out of my life. We're done. They tried to argue, to explain, but I was done listening. I picked up the phone and called the one person I knew I could trust. Emma, I need you now. My sister arrived in mere minutes. She took in the scene with wide eyes, then pulled me into her arms as I finally broke down. Taking charge, she ushered Arthur and Jenna out with a stream of language that, under any other circumstances, would have made me laugh. Over the next few hours, Emma and I pieced together the full extent of the betrayal. The theft had left Sugar Dreams in dire straits, bills unpaid, suppliers demanding payment, and barely enough in the account to make payroll. What am I going to do, Emma? I sobbed. The bakery was my dream, and now... Emma squeezed my hand. We'll figure it out, sis. You're not alone in this. As the shock began to wear off, a steely determination took its place. Arthur and Jenna had taken so much from me, but they hadn't taken my skills, my passion, or my fighting spirit. No, I said, wiping my eyes. They don't get to win. I'm going to save my bakery, and I'm going to do it without them. Emma smiled, fierce pride lighting her eyes. That's my girl. Where do we start? I took a deep breath, looking around at my beloved Sugar Dreams. It was going to be a long, hard road ahead, but I'd built this place from nothing once before. I could do it again. We start, I said, rolling up my sleeves, by making the best damn cupcakes the city has ever seen. The next few months were a whirlwind. Saving Sugar Dreams became my mission, my obsession. I practically lived at the bakery, working side by side with Marco, to keep us afloat. We need to cut costs wherever we can, I told Marco one late night. But we can't compromise on quality. He nodded, a determined look on his face. I've got ideas for new recipes, unique flavors, but with more affordable ingredients. Trust me, they'll be amazing. And he was right. Marco's creativity, paired with my business sense, became our secret weapon. We introduced a line of dream catcher cupcakes with exotic flavors that caught people's attention without breaking the bank. But it wasn't enough. We needed more customers fast. That's when Emma suggested something crazy. Sis, you need to tell your story. People love a comeback. At first I balked. You want me to air my dirty laundry on social media? Not the dirty details, Emma explained with a grin. Just the basics. Local baker betrayed, fighting to save her dream. People will eat it up, pun intended. Reluctantly, I agreed. We started a campaign called #SweetRevenge, where I shared snippets of my journey, focusing on resilience and the joy of baking. To my surprise, it took off. One day, a customer came in, eyes wide with excitement. Are you the hashtag Sweet Revenge Baker? Your story is incredible. Word spread, and lines began to form. Sugar Dreams was becoming the talk of the town again, this time for all the right reasons. Meanwhile, I heard through the grapevine that Arthur's law firm had uncovered some of his shady dealings. It turned out Jenna and I weren't his only victims. Arthur has been disbarred, Harry told me one day when he stopped by for coffee. The firm's in shambles, and he's facing serious legal trouble. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a twinge of satisfaction, but mostly, I felt relieved that Arthur couldn't hurt anyone else. As for Jenna, her role in the whole mess became public knowledge. Last I heard, she couldn't get an accounting job anywhere in the city, and even her friends had abandoned her. Months passed, and slowly but surely, Sugar Dreams climbed out of the red. Every paid bill, every new customer felt like a personal victory. 1 year to the day after I discovered Arthur's betrayal, I stood in my bustling bakery, the air thick with the scent of fresh pastries and the hum of happy chatter. Marco appeared at my side, grinning. "We did it, boss." "We really did it?" I smiled back, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the ovens. "We sure did." Just then, the bell above the door chimed, and I looked up to see a familiar face. Arthur. He looked terrible, his designer suit replaced by worn clothes, his confident swagger gone. Our eyes met, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of the man I thought I'd loved. But then he turned and fled, the bell jangling behind him. I could have felt angry or sad, but instead, I felt free. Turning back to the bakery, my bakery, I picked up a piping bag. There were cupcakes to frost, customers to serve, and a sweet, successful future ahead. And it was all mine. Now, I have a question for you. If you were in Linda's shoes, would you have given Arthur or Jenna a second chance? Or do you think cutting ties was the right decision?